Call it what it is, because that so-called apology just now. Everything that then came out of your mouth was not about Jace. It wasn't about what happened that day. Everything that came out of your mouth was all about you. About why you can't do this, why you can't do that. And I guess that's fine because you're sentencing, but
felonies, he'd start thinking about how to make things right for himself, especially considering the impact on his family. We all know relationships can be tough. People change, they grow apart, and when kids are involved, it can be even harder. Even though some might...
Versus Rashonda Jefferson. Counsel, did your parents please?
Hold on, Reed, Assistant Public Defender with on behalf of Ms. Jefferson. You see your name for the record.
All right. Date and time set for sentencing. Ms. Blair.
Yes, Your Honor. J.D. Nelson, the mother of the victim child, is part of my residency would like to address.
All right. All right. Before we do that, counsel, your client has read the pre-sentence report. Are there any material deletions, corrections, or additions to that?
There are no actual corrections.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. What's your name, please?
My name is J.D. Nelson.
All right. Go.
I'm Jace's mom.
All right. Go ahead.
Sweating, struggling to force my lungs to swallow air. I wake up in the middle of the night as an image of my child. This woman, Ms. Jefferson, replays relentlessly in my mind. As an adult, I can share how this personal impact of this disgusting crime. I'm not sure we'll ever be able to overcome the guilt I feel as a parent because I was not able to protect my son from this woman. She refused to hear my pleas to understand my child's disability. I blame myself that I did not fight higher when she said to me on the very first day. They say I can't hit kids, so I don't know what you expect me to do with him. I now live in a constant state of fear when Jace is under the care of an individual I do not personally know. At work, I've been less able to help my own at-risk high school students as they worry about trusting the safety of my own son in the school system that I so love. It is a parent's nightmare to receive a phone call from the police and hear the words, "I need to speak to you about your child." The call was to report that Ms. Jefferson did to my son, but for a moment, the world stopped, and I waited to hear that the child had been killed. As a fourth generation public educator, I'm now scared to send my son to school. His faith has been destroyed by Ms. Jefferson. School is supposed to be a safe haven for children. Ms. Jefferson took the sense of security from my family. Teaching high school in Romulus and Belleville for the last 23 years, there's a sign in my classroom that says, "This is a safe place," on my classroom door. I had students throw scissors across the room and scream in my face, yet I still kept them safe and knew that I must remain the professional, knowing that my students had special needs, just as my son has, even if theirs may come from things like living in a homeless shelter or witnessing violence. I devoted my life to provide for the safety of thousands of students in our public school system. She couldn't take care of my one. I get physically ill replaying the moment I watched Ms. Jefferson ignore Jace's cries for help as he hung upside down from the legally and incorrectly fastened harness. This disgusting part of the video was not even shown in the court, but as a mother, it is an image of her face, spiteful and condescending, and she tells my autistic son that she won't help him as he begs, screaming for help. I fear this image may never leave me, and I know the sound of his screams never will. I can tell you how watching that video in a suffocating small police interrogation room changed everything.
The reality is sometimes you're tied to the other person long after the kids turn 18, sometimes even into their 30s. But even with that in mind, he just keeps adding to his criminal record. In 2022, he picked up yet another assault case, making it clear that he's not learned from his mistakes. At this point, we have a man who's practically collecting charges like their loyalty points. And yet, somehow, the defense still thinks he deserves another chance.
As he was restrained on a special education bus, it's forced me to grapple with my faith in humanity. As an adult, I can put the impact into words, but definitely stating me, and most important, as an impact of this case, Jace is too young to share his words about how being physically abused by Miss Jefferson, an adult he was supposed to trust, in a place that he was supposed to be safe, will affect him now and always. He can't tell us of the fear he experienced as he ran straight from the bus each day, refusing to speak and slammed the house door, sometimes locking me outside. He can't tell us what through his mind as he sat staring blankly, refusing to even mention the bus ride, or how when his mom told him to behave on the bus, blaming him because she only knew the side of Miss Jefferson's false story, how confused he must be that his mom was allowing someone else to abuse him over and over. Jace doesn't have the words, or maybe lacks the ability yet to process how being abused by a public school employee has increased his disdain and aversion to school and lack of trust of adults, along with his inability to feel safe in this world. Jace had to move to another school system after this abuse, and for a child with autism, that change can be devastating. After the abuse, Jace had and continues to have major emotional dysregulation in school. His ability to establish relationships with adults has been diminished. Whenever I've ever had to bring up the one bus driver, his pulse raises, eyes widen, and he will adamantly say he never wants to talk about that mean lady who hates him again. His entire demeanor changes as he relives the hell Miss Jefferson inflicted on him. In addition to Jay, 6 other special needs children witnessed this abuse. They were told by her to fear police officers and threaten that they were going to jail as 8-year-olds. As our most vulnerable population, their trust in adults and authority figures is diminished. These children also can't share their voices today, but if they chose to show how effective them, their word stories both the 2 years and social. You probably have seen the national news and outcry that these actions have caused. Across the nation, people are disgusted. Jace was 7 years old at the time. With a big smile, a love for sports, and his cats, Maisie and Moby, Jace faces constant struggles in life to his disabilities and special needs. When Miss Jefferson physically and verbally abused him, she multiplied these challenges for Jace. Her cruelty crushed and altered lives of not only an innocent child, but also a devoted full-time single mom and a loving teenage brother. Sorry.
It's okay. No, you're good. Just take your time. You're fine, right? We've got all day if necessary. So you just just go ahead.
With full confidence, I can assure you that this is not the only time Miss Jefferson abused Jace. This is the only video that was viewed for this case. However, this was not the only incident. In the 2 months that Jace rode the bus, he started to act out during the last hour of the school day and begged to be picked up rather than riding the bus multiple times. He got off the bus with shoes missing, panting, and sweating on numerous occasions. I had to pick him up hysterical on the side of the road in a different neighborhood as Miss Jefferson screamed at me from the bus. This day and many others, Miss Jefferson called me multiple times on my personal cell phone, which I don't know how she got, as she yelled at Jace in the background and threatened me that she was going to have him not be able to ride the bus. The extreme distress Jace showed that day of the video was repeated on numerous occasions, and Jace eventually reported that she'd hit him many other times, but that he didn't tell me because he thought he'd get in trouble. As the full videos for every bus ride are now under review, I shake at the thought of what I will see and will not be surprised if we end up in court again after further abuse is discovered. Miss Jefferson has shown absolutely no remorse this entire case. At her arraignment, she stated that she had another school bus aide job set up in Ohio and laughed as she told Judge Simpson that she did this to be done with, so she could once again work with children. This was abuse. This changed a child and a family's life forever. This caused national outrage. I am a forgiving person, so Miss Jefferson makes that very difficult as she walks in the courtroom. It's an entire process.
This is no longer about giving him another opportunity to get it together. He's proving he needs a long time out in a place where the only thing he'll be breaking into is a routine prison meal. The judge continues. He's been on GPS monitoring, and since then, he hasn't violated the terms. But let's be clear, he's only been on GPS because of previous violations, not because...
I pity her. I pity how she has been hardened by this world in such a way that she feels the need to take frustration out on an innocent child. I am trying not to hold a vengeful heart, but her callous disregard to the harm she has caused disgusts me. Shonda, I truly am sorry that this world has been so hard on you to close your heart off in a way, the way that you were able to do what you did and not feel bad about it. You broke the mother code to keep each other's children safe. That's what we do. We keep each other's children safe. You betrayed this code and me when you lied to me and talked about being a single mother and having a schizophrenic son and how you had my back and you were looking out for me. It was all lies. I truly hope you find healing in your heart to be kinder to others in the future, not because you were caught, but because you have seen the damage and the actions you have caused. What I pray for now is that as we watch the other videos, there are no incidents of other violence, although sadly, I don't expect that to be the case. Judge Simpson, I'm forever grateful that you found Ms. Jefferson guilty of child abuse, so that she'll never be able to abuse another child at work again. Other children's future, and the fact that this video brought attention to how our special needs children are often treated as less than in this world, are glimpses of positivity from this court experience.
Thank you. Ms. Reed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have reviewed the recommendation from probation with my client. Obviously, there is a 16-month probation recommendation, which is quite serious, and she is understanding that she will have to comply with that. There's also a 15-day jail recommendation, and Ms. Jefferson would just like to ask if there was any way for the court to suspend that, as she has significant health issues. She is a person that multiple people in her family rely on for support, and she is also presently the only person at her place of employment, and would cause significant distress for them as well if she had to be taken into custody. She would lose her job and lose the stability that she provides for multiple family members. As I said, there's also a recommendation for 16 months of probation, which is 5 years and is quite significant. And she does understand and is willing to accept that portion of the recommendation. And she is just hopeful that if there's any way for her to avoid any time in custody, that the court would be willing to consider that.
Jefferson, anything you want to say to the court before I impose sentence? And if you do, you need to come up to the podium. Counsel, you may want to join.
Good morning. Good afternoon, sir. Just to start off, Ms. Simpson, I would like to apologize for any dates or whatever, the harm might be, whatever. I truly apologize from the bottom of my heart, because I lost my first child, especially the kids 12, but I would never abuse a child. So my thing now is for I accept whatever charge I was given. I would just ask that as far as the lenience towards, like, my daughter just moved to Mississippi here. She came under a job and she got hired for it, and I'm the only one that can babysit my grandbaby at night. That's my only piece for 15 days. If I do 15 days, I'm probably my job now. It's my own story. So that's something that I just ask the court to kind of please, be lenient towards the 15 days, whatever it's I'm given, I can, accept that. So it's like my daughter, she starts work, and she starts her orientation this week, and like I literally have nobody to eat my grandbaby at night. So that's my only thing as far as 15 days. Anything else, I take full responsibility. So that's all. I don't have much to say. Accepting the choice, whatever the decision is, I accept it. I'm truly sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. I have a heart, I really do. So I don't want anybody to feel I have a cold heart, which I don't.
Another judge. All I did was add the GPS monitoring so we know exactly where he is. The judge makes a decision. I'm not giving him probation. I'm going to sentence him and our retain jurisdiction. In case number 2020, County Route 2998, the court will find you guilty and sentence you to 5 years in prison. You'll get credit for any time served. There's also a $1,500 fine, and your sentences in
them.
Ms. Valera, you rose.
Yes, Your Honor, I just wanted to bring it to the court's attention. Some of the statements that is being made, I did take that into consideration when I made the recommendation for sentencing. I mean, the actions in this case, especially on a child that is 17 years old, I believe that there is a need or deserves some sort of jail sentence. And so with her situation, I did take that into consideration with the recommendation that I provided.
Thank you. Anything else? The court imposes sentences. Let me first start out by at least this court's last observation. You know, Ms. Jefferson, as I listen to you start out your elocution, you turned around to Jace's parents and you, I guess the way I look at it, or what you portrayed to this court, was sort of a very sort of shorthanded shrift of what Jace's mom just got up here and said.
Yes, I understand.
No, I don't think you do. I really don't think you do. Because after making what maybe in words was an apology, but certainly I don't think in one's heart was an apology. Every next, ma'am, if you want to continue to, no, I'm just going to tell you, if you want to continue to allocute, I'll let you do that. Okay? I will let you say whatever you want to say to this court before I impose sentence. I will not be interrupted once I begin my sentence. So if you have more to say, please do. Well, thank you for allowing me to continue in my court. But after that, and I'll just call it what it is, because that so-called apology just now. Everything that then came out of your mouth was not about Jace. It wasn't about what happened that day. Everything that came out of your mouth was all about you. About why you can't do this, why you can't do that. And I guess that's fine because you're sentencing, but that video, what you did to that child, I don't even understand, to be honest with you, how that whole process started out. I cannot even imagine what could be going through, and I think it might have been the driver,